Let's move across the desk now, and Nicholas Rushworth is here to talk us through the international front pages this time, Nick, and you're starting out with that Syria crisis.
Hala, the US Secretary of State John Kerry, as we know, is on a diplomatic push to persuade Moscow, to persuade Damascus to stop or limit those horrendous attacks we've been seeing in Aleppo in northern Syria in recent days. Le Figaro, the French paper, is leading on this. There you can see its headline, Aleppo replonge dans la guerre, is back in a war situation. It says there have been more than 250 deaths in 7 days and 2 medical centres completely destroyed in that city in northern Syria. The quote there from the paper from a Syrian doctor is, when will the West do something to stop the massacre? When we're all dead? There is no trust anymore with the West. It's been broken entirely.
Well, other papers are also looking at how long this destruction's going on, but you've been looking at the Arab press for us today.
Well, I turned to the Pan-Arab paper based in London, al-Assad, which is Saudi-owned and in English. It is anti-Assad. A comment piece there is saying, well, there you can see the headline asking the destruction of Aleppo, when will it stop? When will it go on? And it asks, is it possible to commit these massacres every day without the parties in talks in Geneva doing anything but making worthless statements, calling for calm? Now, we recall, Hala, that there was a truce back in February. There was a cessation of hostilities over the weekend. But this is another quote from the piece saying, the UN has not honoured its pledge that negotiations will take place simultaneously with ceasefire efforts and that there will be deliveries of aid. Rather, the massacres taking place during the days of truce have exceeded the massacres in the days of war. So, terrible situation.
Indeed. Let's move on to other news now, Nick. The papers are reporting on leaked documents that are casting doubt on the EU-US trade deal.
Now, that deal is called the TTIP. The Guardian is reporting that it faces a serious impasse with irreconcilable differences in some areas. Now, this is all down to a document that's come from Greenpeace, which leaks information about this deal, which is, the information in the Greenpeace document is a few weeks old, but they say it raises environmental concerns about the talks as they stand now. The quote there from Greenpeace about this trade deal is, the way is being cleared for a race to the bottom in environmental, consumer protection and public health standards. Let's turn to Le Monde, which is saying pretty much the same thing in its coverage of this story. It says that according to the Greenpeace documents, the negotiations lean towards mutual recognition of regulations, not harmonization. Of course, this is a massive deal, isn't it? Very sensitive. It would create the biggest trade zone ever. As far as Greenpeace is concerned, their message is that corporations look at this point to be at the center of the decision-making about this deal, not the consumers.
We'll certainly expect a lot more on that story in the days and weeks to come. For now, it's the 2nd of May today, the 5th anniversary of the death of Osama bin Laden in Pakistan. And the press is reporting on a live tweet underway. Tell us more about that.
Well, it's possible for people to go to the CIA live tweeting this throughout the day. And it's very rare for them to actually tweet something which is not declassified and sort of very old, decades old. So the Sydney Morning Herald is reporting on this story, saying that it has provoked a negative reaction online, with some commentators saying it is grotesque and embarrassing to retweet this event. One tweet was, "You are celebrating killing the monster of your own creation." So whatever, if you're for or against the live tweet, you certainly know out there's some controversy about it. I want to end on a story I saw in The Independent in the UK, which shows that the spirit of revolt, which we're seeing in France at the moment with those streets protests in Paris, never goes away. Druids have been out for a pagan protest at Stonehenge. They're angry. Summer solstice next month. They're going to be £15 parking charges. That's about €20. And there's going to be a ban on alcohol. The pagans are being led by King Arthur Uther Pendragon. I love this story because it's just a mix of something out of Monty Python and, British eccentricity with British understatement. Listen to the Kate Davis, Stonehenge general manager, saying in the paper, "A small number of our visitors were inconvenienced by the pagan protest, but they were very understanding." So, of course, lovely
course
piece
they are.
from the UK.
I'm not sure which the people are more annoyed about, the parking charges or the drink ban. I think the drink ban probably annoy me more than anything else. But thank you, Nicholas Rochefort, taking us to the international papers there. Do stay with us here on France 24.